How would you handle it if a new player at your table is not comfortable with the idea of their character dying? Because I had an idea that I came up with just now on the spot, but I'm curious what you think.
I mean, there's a few ways you can kind of go about it. In the way that you could have it so that when they do die, there is some sort of respawning mechanic. You could have it so that some part of their backstory is kind of in the chamber and ready to save them later. Easy to do with, like, for example, a warlock or a cleric where they do have some sort of deity backing them as well. There's means to do so. I typically like to tie it in narratively, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you hear from your player that they aren't comfortable with the idea of their character dying, maybe they love it so much, they put all this hard work in, and they want to play D&D, but they don't want that kind of risk that something that they love could be just done like that. I think it's a good idea to work with them at the beginning of their character, if possible, to work out some sort of reason why they might not be able to actually die. But I do think that there should be still a level of risk, because that's what makes the game fun for a lot of people. And so maybe it's something that they wouldn't physically die, but would make them incapable of continuing to adventure with that party. So maybe something like they are not necessarily fully corporeal, but return back to their home realm or something like that when they're done in this realm. Maybe they just sustain a big injury and need a big time off in order to cope with that. And then, you know, in the time that they are recovering, they just sort of decide that they don't want to adventure anymore, and then that way your player is able to still kind of come up with nice things that happen to them during this time of recovery instead of trauma and death and suffering and bad things they don't want for their character. But always work with your player beforehand to try and get these things worked out so that everybody at the table can have fun, but nobody has to deal with losing a character that they love so much.
Yeah, I mean, that all works.